the show live. So this is Ben Gvir, the national security minister for Israel, and he's going to flat out say the things that we all suspected. They're starving the Palestinians to death, but he's going to go way beyond that, talking about taking away their oxygen. Just the quickest way that Israel can murder all the Palestinians in Gaza and take their land. And he's saying it. You're going to see he's going to talk about taking the land, conquering the land, and keeping the land, and bringing in Jewish settlers, because it's a genocidal, terrorist, fascistic government. And anyone who's offended by that can go, there's a lot of things I can tell you about what to do.
Fuck themselves. Just say it. Go fuck yourself. Be honest. Be authentic
about it, okay? But if you're offended by that, there's something wrong with you. Sorry, but I'm not sorry.
I'll say it. Go fuck yourself.
Like if you say, if you're accurately quoting the Israeli national security minister, who's an obvious fascist, but you called him a fascist. You complained about the starvation of irrelevant Muslim children. You've hurt my feelings. You've hurt my feelings as a person who loves Israel. I am in every right to say back to you, I don't give a goddamn about your feelings. I don't care about your feelings at all. If you say to me, I don't care about 20,000 dead Palestinian children. I don't care about who. We're all seeing the pictures and the videos of the kids in skeletal form, starving to death. You don't care about that, but you care if someone slightly criticizes or aggressively criticizes Israel. How dare you? You have hurt my feelings. You are a hateful person. No. If you support the current government of Israel and what those terrorists are doing, you're a terrible person. You're a hateful person. I can't stand anyone who says this is acceptable. This is not acceptable. It was deeply unacceptable when it was done to Jews during the Holocaust, when it was done to Armenians during the Armenian genocide, and on and on. But you do not get a special exemption because you called yourself a Jewish state. No, you don't get to hide behind all Jews in the world and go, if you're criticizing my monstrous actions of the current regime, that means you hate all Jews. All Jews didn't tell you to do that. They had nothing to do with it. Stop putting it on them. It's actually the Israelis that are putting it on all Jews across the world. They didn't ask for this. They're not in your Knesset. They're not in your cabinet. And for Jewish Americans, they're not even in your country. So stop hiding behind them. Stop using them as human shields for your disgusting fascist government.
Bam. That's the comparison I put to the IDF. They keep saying that Hamas is using, Palestinians as human shields. I would say that the Israeli government, the IDF, is using Jewish Americans and their own citizens as human shields. They're getting all the hate. They're taking all the heat.
So let me read you the comments. He writes in, Ben Gvir does, and this is public. He's just putting it out on X. I call on the prime minister to immediately recall the delegation that went to negotiate with the Hamas murderers in Doha. So he never, of course, that's not surprising at all. He has always been against negotiations. He's always been against the ceasefire, always against a peace deal. He never even wants the hostages back. His plan for hostages are, let's murder everyone in Gaza, and then they'll magically give us the hostages back. In other words, I don't give a damn about the hostages. He doesn't even care about Jewish lives. He doesn't care. He's like, I want the land. Because he's a fascist, he's a terrorist. And by the way, if you're in favor of greater Israel, that means you're in favor of stealing Arab land, okay? So if you're for greater Israel, you're a racist, period. And you're, as someone saying, and look, you're also a terrorist because you're saying there's 5.5 million people that live in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. But those are Judea and Samaria. They're part of greater Israel. You're not allowed to criticize because it's a Jewish state. But we're going to murder those Palestinians. We're going to murder those Muslims and Christians. We're going to take their land. But you're not allowed to call me any names. I'm allowed to call you every name in the world as I kill your children. But you're not allowed to call me any names. No deal. No deal at all. Okay, so that was the least offensive part because we already know that there's a warmonger, disgusting terrorist, Ben Gvir. So he continues, with those who kill our fighters, there's no need to negotiate. Well, first of all, again, this is the least offensive part of it, but the part where you're like, oh, okay, so when anybody does any kind of attack in one way or another, they don't have to negotiate. They just kill. So then you don't mind Hamas killing Israelis because you say there's no need to negotiate with anyone who kills you, and Israel has killed so many Palestinians, we've lost count. Okay, it's in the tens of, it's a minimum 59,000 in this conflict. Bare minimum 59,000, 20,000 children, over 30,000, now 35,000 women and children. Okay, and but so under your logic, Ben Gvir, then the Palestinians should say, I mean, with that kind of mass murder of the Israelis, no negotiations, just kill away. That is how terrorists think. That is why Ben Gvir says that. But we haven't gotten to the most important part at all. Here it comes. He says they must be, now remember, he's pretending in the beginning to talk about fighters and Hamas, but now he's talking about the whole population because they don't know where Hamas is. They claim, the Israelis claim, Hamas is hiding and using the Palestinians as human shields. So if we're going to starve them, we're going to take away anything from them, humanitarian aid from Hamas, in their logic, you have to take it away from all Palestinians. There's no way to selectively starve Hamas. They don't know where they are. If they did, they just go and get them, right? So in order to starve Hamas, you have to starve the entire population. I mean, think about the insane, murderous logic of that. Do you know how many murderers, serial killers, rapists there are in America? A lot, way more than Hamas, tens of thousands, okay? Because there's always tens of thousands of bad guys in any society. Under Israeli terrorist logic, since there are tens of thousands of killers spread across a giant country like America, we should starve the whole country and kill our children. Oh, they're hiding between your civilian population. Well, in order to kill the killers, we have to starve all of your children. But my children didn't kill anybody. My children aren't serial killers. I don't care. So what does he say? He says they must be crushed to dust, starved to death, and not given air through humanitarian aid that provides them oxygen. So starving them to death is taking too long for the terrorist Ben Gvir, for the terrorist Israeli government. So they're like, well, I'm going to take away their humanitarian aid. So if they got a baby who's dying, no aid for the baby. He sounds like a Nazi. Are you offended? Are you offended? You're not offended by starving babies. You're not offended that this Nazi is telling you in public, let's starve their children to death. But let me guess. Oh, blood libel. Oh, there was some bullshit theory from 1,000,000 years ago about Jews that was horrible and terrible. I'm going to hide behind that. Nobody's saying that. They're saying don't kill children. Oh, but you're not allowed to say that the Israeli state is murdering children because some other dude 200 years ago said something terrible about completely different people who happen to be Jewish. No, then you're using it as an excuse. You're hiding behind the idea of anti-Semitism to do horrific things. And anytime somebody points out horrific things like, hey, your national security minister is talking about starving all the children of Palestine to death in public. How dare you? I'm offended. My feelings are paramount. The feelings of the people who love the Jewish state are the most important thing in the world. Your babies are irrelevant. Starve them. Who cares? Take away their oxygen. Take away their humanitarian aid. Oh, baby's dying. Don't give them medical aid. You're complaining anti-Semite. You hate people. No, you hate people. If that's your belief, you're still supporting this Israeli government. You hate Muslims. You hate Palestinians. You hate Arabs. You hate Christians. Yes, there are Palestinian Christians. Yes, they bombed a church just a couple of days ago because they don't care about anything. What you are saying is we're not asking to get treated like everyone else. We're asking us to be superior to all of you. And that is a deeply, deeply troubling thing to say. And if you say, no, we are God's favorite people of all time, or chosen for whatever other bullshit reason, God didn't choose you. Okay, sorry. Did I offend you? Did I break your heart to find out you're not God's favorite child? What an obnoxious thing to say. I don't care what excuse you make for it. Oh, yeah, we were chosen to suffer. Why? Why would God choose one child to put all the suffering on? Is he a sicko? Oh, we were chosen for this or we were chosen for that. We're so special. You're not chosen for anything. Those are the ravings of a lunatic mind. If Muslims say, oh, we're allowed to do anything we want to Jews, we're the chosen people, everybody would say, what a murdering terrorist freak, right? What an anti-Semite, what a terribly hateful person. But when the Israeli government says it, and they say, we demand, and I'm not talking about Jews, I'm talking about Israel. When Israel says, we're owed greater Israel, and they have maps of it, Netanyahu brought the map to the UN and rubbed it in your face. Yeah, we're going to steal their land. We're going to do Eretz Israel. We're going to take Judea and Samaria. That's the West Bank and Gaza Strip. And how do you think they're going to take it? How do you think they're going to put in all the Jewish settlers? By murdering and moving out the Palestinians. They're admitting their genocide in front of the whole world. But American media is like, I don't see it. I don't see it. All I see is the people criticizing Israel. Anti-Semite, fire him, deport him, arrest him. My feelings are hurt. Let them murder all the children because Dana Bash's feelings are hurt. Yeah, I said Dana Bash. What the hell are you doing? But look, guys, it's not just her. So she happens to be a massive supporter of Israel, and anyone who criticizes Israel, she's like, oh, you're anti-Semite, ruin their life, okay? Yeah, I said it, Dana, because you're a sick supporter of a terrorist government, starving children to death. How many segments did you do on it? How many segments did you do on the starvation and how sick it is? Now think about how many segments you would have done if the Palestinians were in control of Jewish-occupied territories and they were starving Jewish children to death. Look me in the eye, or look yourself in the eye in the mirror, and tell me you wouldn't have done 1,000 stories on that. If there was a concentration camp where Muslims or Christians were keeping Jews, 2 million Jews, and they were starving them to death. And the whole world is seeing them getting starved to death by this monstrous government that calls themselves a Muslim state. Would you say, you're offending Muslims if you criticize them? No, those Jews should starve to death because you are hurting the feelings of our fellow Muslim Americans. No one in their right mind would say that. You'd have to be a lunatic, terrorist-supporting fascist to say that. But when you flip the religions and flip the governments, and you go, there's 2 million Muslims, they're starving to death. They're like, oh, how dare you offend the Jewish state? No, you don't get to hide behind being a Jew. It doesn't make you special. It doesn't make you worse at all. But it doesn't make you better. It doesn't make you superior. It doesn't mean we have to listen to you. And we're not allowed to offend you by pointing out that your beloved Israel is murdering these kids. They've already murdered 20,000 kids. Imagine if Hamas had murdered 20,000. If Hamas murdered 36 kids, And I'm just using her as one example. It's almost all the cable news anchors. All the cable news anchors say 36 Israeli kids. And good, they should have that kind of rage about 36 innocent kids that killed. 20,000 kids killed. They're like, so what? It's old news. It's no big deal. Who cares? They're just Palestinian. They're inferior anyway. But you've hurt my feelings.
Yeah, they'll say they saw this war. It's like, oh, this is war. This is expected to happen. Innocent casualties. Children are supposed to die in war. This is just what happens. Remember, we didn't start the war. But, like, I don't know if Jake's going to go on this. They absolutely, positively know that you're killing children. You're not killing Hamas. You're killing the children. That's what you're doing. That's the issue that I take up with the IDF. You know this. The statistics are there. People are actively calling this a genocide, and you're like, fuck you, we're going to keep bombing this. And they're going to say, oh, wait, the only way this can stop is if you give me the fucking, give us back the hostages, dead or alive. How the fuck are they supposed to give you back the hostages if they're dead because you keep bombing them? Like, why the fuck would I cooperate with that? Number one, they're killing their own fucking people. At the same time, they're killing their own people that they send in for humanitarian aid. They're killing their own people. They bombing people or killing people who are our hostages that are coming to. They say they're indiscriminately doing these things, and then you expect people outside of Israel and outside of pro IDF to actually look at this with like and give a shit anymore. The initial response, I understand, after October the 7th, of course, the response, of course, you want to defend yourself. Everybody has the right to defend themselves. But now we're in 2025, and you're not killing Hamas. All you're doing is you're upping the death toll of women and children. Majority of the population dying in Gaza right now is under the age of 18. You're cleansing them. You're annihilating their future. They know this. They know that this is happening, and they refuse to go with diplomacy, which is the only way this can end. It's not going to end by continuously bombing dirt at this point. They don't give a fuck about the hostages, because if you care about the hostages, you wouldn't keep bombing areas they might be in. They don't care about peace or the Palestinians, because there's no fucking diplomacy happening. You want the Palestinian people to throw away and disregard Hamas. How the fuck are they supposed to do that? You've given them nothing to work with. You starved them. You decimated their homes. You've killed the morale. The only people all you're doing is creating more Hamas agents.
Criticizing the Jewish state. No, that's a government. That's a deeply evil government hiding behind their religion. Okay, so he continues. This monster, this Nazi continues. A complete siege, military crushing, encouragement of migration and settlement. These are the keys to absolute victory. Not a reckless deal that would release thousands of terrorists and withdraw the IDF from territories captured with the blood of our fighters. So what is he admitting there? We are doing a complete siege of Gaza. We're going to militarily crush everyone in Gaza. We're going to encourage migration and settlement of Jewish settlers into the land to take it. And then he says it was territories captured by brave fighters. First of all, they're not brave. The IDF is a bunch of cowards who murder innocent civilians. Again, I don't care if it hurts your feelings. They just murdered all these tens of thousands of civilians, but you call them terrorists? No, that's just for Muslims. But I'm offended because you call non-Muslims terrorists. How about Muslims? How about Muslims getting murdered at 500 times the rate of Hamas did to Israel for their children? Israel has killed 500 times the number of children that Hamas has killed. And Israeli supporters go, so what? They had it coming. Hamas made us murder their children. You're not allowed to say that. I mean, it's actually 100% true. We'll throw out a bunch of squirrels and lies to try to pretend that it's not true, but everybody knows it is true, and we've seen it with our own eyes. But you're not allowed to say it, because otherwise I'm offended. I don't give a goddamn you're offended. Okay, so he's admitting they considered captured territory. So what happened to self-defense? It was never about self-defense. So we were right, and all the Israeli defenders were wrong. Okay, how many of them will come out and apologize and go, you guys were right? They're saying it. The heritage minister said we're going to starve them, and nobody would feed their enemies, and we're going to take their land. Smotrich has said total annihilation. Netanyahu has said we should do like that was done to Amalek, and that is a reference to their religious text where the heroes, I don't even want to say their religion because I don't want people getting distracted. It doesn't matter what the religion is. Any religion. No religion is above any other, okay? No religion is below any other. But if you say Amalek, that's in there, that in that text, the Israelis go and murder every man, woman, and child of their enemies. And Netanyahu is saying that's what we should do.